Good morning, my name is Tiffany Davis. I'm part of Core Community Augusta. I've been a member of Core Community since October of 2023, but I want to start by sharing a little bit about life before Core. My road to poverty started at a very young age, and I didn't even realize it. I got pregnant at 17, and that's where it all began. By the time I was 23, I had just had my fourth and fifth baby, my twins, and I found myself deeper and deeper in debt, struggling to pay bills, struggling to take care of my kids. And from the age of 15 to 23, I was also being abused by the man I was trying to create a family with. I was young, naive, and I thought that I could make it work. For 8 years, I stayed with him. In the first few years, he was just conditioning me, broke me down until I felt like nothing, isolating me from family and friends. And when my first daughter, Raya, was about 6 months old, is when the physical abuse began. That was in 1997, and it only became worse. As time went on, I got pregnant in 1998 with my daughter, my second daughter. And I thought surely the abuse would stop. But it didn't, it only got worse. During the pregnancy, I received a broken nose, a broken tailbone, and a broken hand. When the abuse continued, I became pregnant again when my daughter Shayla was only 6 months old. In January of 2000, I was told we were getting married. I wasn't asked, I wasn't proposed to, and I was told, and I obeyed. In October 2001, the worst night of my life happened, and I don't even remember what started it. But we ended up in a fight, and he completely lost control. He choked me in and out of consciousness, pulled me up by my hair, only to slap me back down to the floor, and it went on for 3.5 hours. That was the first and only time I called the cops on him. And he went to jail and was facing 6 felonies. But before I knew it, they were pleaded down to 2, a misdemeanor and a felony. And he was out of jail with 2 years of corrections. And as soon as he got out, of course, he pulled me right back in. Not long after he got out, I became pregnant again. And I found out it was twins. And in 2002, just a month after I had my twins, I finally found the strength to leave him. I was done. I was a single mom with 5 kids under the age of 5. My life was nothing but chaos. I was in pure survival mode all the time, one fight after another, one crisis after another, year after year. Just when I thought I could catch a break, the next storm hit. I was always just hanging on. In 2011, the worst crisis of my life so far, my dad, my person, died on November 15th. Just 2 weeks earlier, on November 2nd, I lost my grandma, which was my other person. I fell into a deep black hole depression I thought I'd never climb out of. I neglected my family because I couldn't even handle my own grief. By then I had given up on God because he had surely given up on me, I thought. Eventually you have to pull yourself out even though you're not okay because your life doesn't stop. I still had kids to raise and a family to provide for. In 2013, tragedy struck my family again as my son was in a car wreck with his best friend and 2 other boys. His best friend, Corbin, who was like his son to me, was killed. And for the longest 45 minutes of my life, as I rushed to the hospital, I thought my son was dead because a chaplain was the one who called me. The grief and the survivor's guilt literally crushed me. That December, I got a job as a housekeeper at a nursing home. It grew on me and I stuck with it. I worked my way up and I got a raise, and by 2017, I was in a pretty stable position. But on June 1st of 2017, on my daughter's 21st birthday, my brother-in-law thought that he would be cute and push me in the lake, and he crushed my tibia plateau. I was non-weight bearing for 6 months and I had to learn how to walk all over again. After 8 months, I went back to work and I had worked my way up to the environmental specialist over housekeeping and maintenance. From 17 to 21, I was finally no longer living in deep poverty. Things were looking up. And then in January of 21, I was told that the nursing home was shutting down. I was offered a demotion at another facility, but I declined. I applied for unemployment as they said we could, and only to find out that someone had stolen my identity during COVID and collected over $5,000 in benefits under my name. It took them 5 months to get that figured out, and the only way I think I survived that is because I had a really good landlord that worked with me. No matter how hard I tried, I could never really get ahead. I eventually got a job at Casey's in Augusta, and it came with a great big pay cut, but I worked hard and moved up to assistant store manager within the first 6 months. It was still a struggle. That's when I met Trish, one of my regular customers that had became my friends. And then she told me about CORE. I was interested, but when orientation came, anxiety got the best of me. I didn't go. I saw her later that day and I was like, I'm so sorry I didn't come. She's like, that's okay, we have another one next Monday. So I stepped out on a limb and I went. I was terrified. I've always hated meeting new people. I was afraid of being judged, ridiculed, or looked down on, because that's what life had taught me. I thought I wasn't enough. But when I walked into CORE, it wasn't like that. Nobody judged me. Nobody looked down on me. People welcomed me. They saw value in me when I couldn't see it in myself. Week after week, CORE gave me the tools, but more than that, it gave me community. It gave me people who believed in me when I couldn't believe in myself, and that started to change everything. I learned how to control my finances instead of letting them control me. I learned how to set goals and actually achieve them. I started to rebuild my confidence. Life didn't suddenly get easy, but for the first time, I didn't feel alone anymore. I graduated from CORE in 2024. Since then, I have completed trauma therapy. It was rough and it was raw, but it healed me. And for the first time, I forgive my abuser. Not for him, but for me. I forgive myself too for all the times that I let my kids down and let bad things happen to them. I'm now preparing to create a domestic violence support group in Augusta. I have the courage to advocate and speak up for people who are in the same situation I once was. I'm passionate about helping survivors of domestic violence and their children and help them find hope and healing. But the most miraculous, I think, is how CORE helped me believe in myself again. How strangers became family and hope replaced fear. CORE showed me that I wasn't broken beyond repair. It showed me that my story has value, that my voice matters, and that I'm capable of more than I ever thought possible. In February of 2025, I attended church for the first time in many, many years. For so long, I believed that God had left me, because why would he let all that happen to me? But that day during altar call, when I went up and got prayed for, I turned around and he was right there. In June of this year, I was baptized, and today I'm living my life for Jesus. I just want to thank all of you for taking the time to listen to my story, and just know CORE's changing lives, and I'm living proof.